Hare Krishna, welcome to the day 22, day 23 is it? 23 of reading from the Krishna book. We're on chapter 12, entitled The Killing of the Demon Aghasura. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, the demon Aghasur, who was a brother of Putana and Bakasur, he appeared now in Vrindavan. So he was spotted by the boys who were herding their cows. That is all the gopas. And he was a peculiar looking demon. His mouth was like a serpent. And actually he was doing all the Mahima Siddhis the demons do. He was just expanding himself up to 8 miles. And he assumed the shape of a very fat serpent. Now, Krishna and Balram both got together and looked at this demon whose eyes were blazing like fire and who looked really scary. The boys began to talk among themselves, "Dear friends, this figure appears to be a great animal, and he is sitting in such a posture just to swallow us all. Just see, is it not a big snake that has widened his mouth to eat all of us?" All of them said, "Yes. What you say is true. This animal's upper lip appears to be just like the sunshine, and its lower lip is just like the reflection of red sunshine on the ground. Dear friends, just look to the right and left side of the mouth of the animal. Its mouth appears to be like a big mountain cave, and its height cannot be estimated. The chin is also raised just like a mountain summit. That long highways appear to be its tongue, and inside the mouth it is as dark as in a mountain cave. The hot wind that is blowing like a hurricane is his breathing, and the fishy bad smell coming out of his mouth is the smell of his intestines." Then they further consulted among themselves. "If we all at one time entered into the mouth of this great serpent, how could it possibly swallow all of us? And even if it were to swallow all of us at once, it could not swallow Krishna. Krishna will immediately kill him, as he did Bakasur." Talking in this way, all the boys looked at the beautiful lotus-like face of Krishna, and then they began to clap and smile. And so they marched forward and entered the mouth of the gigantic serpent. Meanwhile, Krishna, who is the super soul within everyone's heart, could understand that the big statuesque figure was a demon. The boys did not know this, however, and thus while Krishna was planning how to stop the destruction of his intimate friends, all the boys along with their calves entered the mouth of the serpent, but Krishna did not enter. The demon was awaiting Krishna's entrance, and he was thinking, "Everyone has entered except Krishna, who has killed my brother and sister. Krishna is the assurance of safety to everyone." But when he saw that his friends were already out of his hands and were lying within the belly of a great serpent, he momentarily aggrieved. He was also struck with wonder at how the external energy works so wonderfully. He then began to consider how he could kill the demon and at the same time save the boys and the calves. Although there was no factual concern on Krishna's part, he was thinking like that. Finally, after deliberation, he also entered the mouth of the demon. When Krishna entered, all the demigods who had gathered to see the fun and who were hiding within the clouds expressed their feelings with the words, "Alas, alas." At the same time, all the friends of Aghasur, especially Kamsa, who were all accustomed to eating flesh and blood, expressed their jubilation, understanding that Krishna had also entered the mouth of the demon. While the demon was trying to smash Krishna and his companions, Krishna heard the demigods crying, and he immediately began to expand himself within the throat of the demon. Although he had a gigantic body, the demon choked by the expanding of Krishna. His eyes moved violently and he quickly suffocated. His life air could not come out from any source, and ultimately it burst out of a hole in the upper part of his skull. Thus his life air passed off. After the demon was dead, Krishna, with his transcendental glance alone, brought all the boys and calves back to the consciousness and came with them out of the mouth of the demon. While Krishna was within the mouth of Aghasura, the demon spirit soul came out like a dazzling light, illuminating all directions and waiting in the sky. As soon as Krishna came out of the mouth of the demon with his calves and friends, that glittering effulgent light immediately merged into the body of Krishna within the vision of all the demigods. The demigods became overwhelmed with joy and showered flowers on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And worshipped him. The denizens of heaven danced in jubilation, and the denizens in Gandharvalok offered various kinds of prayers. Drummers beat the drums in jubilation, the Brahmanas recited the Vedic hymns, and all the devotees of the Lord chanted the words Jai Jai. All glories to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Lord Brahma heard those auspicious vibrations which sounded throughout the higher planetary system, he immediately came down to see what had happened. He saw that the demon was killed, and he was struck with wonder at the uncommon glorious pastimes of the personality of Godhead. The gigantic mouth of the demon remained in an open position for many days and gradually dried up. It remained a spot of pleasure, pastimes for all the cowherd boys. The killing of Aghasura took place when Krishna and all his boyfriends were under 5 years old. I repeat, only 5 years old. Children under 5 years old are called Kaumara. From 5 years up to the 10th year they are called Paganda, and from the 10th year up to the 15th year they are called Kaishore. After the 15th year, boys are called youths. For 1 year there was no discussion of the incident of the Aghasura demon in the village of Vraj. But when the boys attained the 6th year, they informed their parents of the incident with great wonder. Okay. For Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is far greater than such demigods as Lord Brahma, it is not at all difficult to award one of the opportunity of merging with his eternal body. This he awarded to Aghasura. Aghasura was certainly the most sinful living entity, and it is not possible for the sinful to merge into the existence of the absolute truth. But in this particular case, because Krishna entered into Aghasura's body, the demon became fully cleansed of all the sinful reactions. Aghasura was certainly the most sinful living entity. But after this incident, the Aghasura's body, the demon became fully cleansed of all the sinful reactions. Persons constantly thinking of the eternal form of the Krishna, of the Lord in the shape of the deity or in the shape of a mental form, are awarded the transcendental benediction of entering into the kingdom of God and associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we can just imagine the elevated position of someone like Aghasura, into whose body the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna personally entered. Great sages, meditators, and devotees constantly keep the form of the Lord within their hearts or they see the deity form of the Lord in the temples. In that way, they become liberated from all material contamination. At the end of the body, they enter into the kingdom of God. This perfection is possible simply by keeping the form of the Lord within the mind. But in the case of Aghasura, the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally entered. Aghasura's position was therefore greater than the ordinary devotees or the greatest yogis. Maharaj Parikshit was engaged in hearing the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna, who saved the life of Maharaj Parikshit while he was in the womb of his mother, became more and more interested to hear about him. And thus he questioned the sage Shukadeva Goswami, who was reciting Srimad Bhagavatam before the king. King Parikshit was a bit astonished to understand that the killing of the Aghasura demon was not discussed for 1 year until the boys attained the Poganda age. Maharaj Parikshit was very inquisitive to learn about this, for he was sure that such an incident was due to the working of Krishna's different energies. Generally, the Kshatriyas of the administrative class are always busy with their political affairs, and they have very little chance to hear about the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna. But while Parikshit Maharaj was hearing these transcendental pastimes, he considered himself to be very fortunate, because not only he was hearing Krishna's pastimes, but he was also doing so from Shukadeva Goswami, the greatest authority on Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus being requested by Maharaj Parikshit, Shukadeva Goswami continued to speak about the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna in the matter of his form, quality, fame and paraphernalia. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 12th chapter of Krishna, the killing of the Aghasura demon. Let's begin the 13th chapter, the stealing of the boys and calves by Brahma. Shukadeva Goswami was very much encouraged when Maharaj Parikshit asked him why the cowherd boys did not discuss the death of Aghasura until 1 year had passed. He explained thus: "My dear king, you are making the subject matter of the transcendental pastimes of Krishna fresher by your inquisitiveness. It is said that it is the nature of a devotee to constantly apply his mind, energy, words, ears, etc. in hearing and chanting about Krishna. This is called Krishna consciousness. And for one who is wrapped in hearing and chanting about Krishna, the subject matter never becomes hackneyed or old. That is the significance of transcendental subject matter in contrast to the material subject matter. Material subject matter becomes stale and one cannot hear a certain subject for a long time. He wants change. But as far as transcendental subject matter is concerned, it is called Nitya Nav Navayamana. Mana. Nitya Nav Navya Mana. This means that one can go on chanting and hearing about the Lord and never feel tired, but remain fresh and eager to hear more and more. It is the duty of the spiritual master to disclose all confidential subject matter to the inquisitive and sincere disciple. Thus Shukadeva Goswami began to explain why the killing of Aghasura was not discussed until the 1 year had passed. Shukadeva Goswami told the king, "Now hear of this secret with attention. After saving his friends from the mouth of Aghasura and killing the demon, Lord Krishna brought his friends to the bank of the Yamuna and addressed them as follows: My dear friends, just see how this spot is very nice for taking lunch and playing on the soft, sandy Yamuna bank. You can see the lotus flowers in the water are beautifully blown, and how they distribute their fragrance all around. The chirping of the birds along with the cooing of the peacocks, surrounded by the whispering of the leaves in the trees, combine and present sound vibrations that echo one another. And this just enriches the beautiful scenery created by the trees here. Let us have our lunch in this spot because it is already late and we are feeling hungry. Let the calves remain near us and let them drink water from the Yamuna. While we engage in our lunch taking, the cows may engage in eating the soft grasses that are in this spot. So, okay, we'll finish our reading for today here, and the secret that why this was kept a secret among the boys, Krishna and his cowherd boys, the killing of Aghasura till the age 6, shall be told on the coming Monday. I wish you all a very pleasant weekend in all your Krishna conscious activities. We shall resume our reading again on Monday. Hare Krishna.